After the establishment of a landing service and store at the bottom of Strathallan Street and then at the bottom of George Street, hotels, services and retail shops were established. There was the Ship Hotel in Strathallan Street and the Club Hotel in George Street. You'll notice the early public well in the foreground of this picture, and this was apparently also the site of an early brickworks. The Old Bank Hotel was at the bottom of Church Street. Most of these early buildings were no more than wooden sheds, and as time went on, other larger wooden buildings were constructed on the Great South Road, now called Stafford Street. The commercial area extended up the hill south of George Street. The original St Mary's Church is in the background of this picture, built in 1862. This brings us to one of the most significant events in the history of Timaru, the Great Fire of 1868. In the middle left of the old photograph was where it all started. In the current view, it is about where the modern Robert Harris coffee shop is today. Behind the wooden furniture shop was a workshop. A glue pot, used for melting the furniture glue, caught fire, and the building was set alight. Unfortunately, there was a strong nor'wester. The fire raged down the street towards the southeast and leapt across the road, destroying most of the commercial buildings on the main road. The map shows the buildings affected by the fire and the devastation, which was on an epic scale. After the fire, all commercial buildings were constructed from brick or stone. When you look at the site of some of these old premises, we are looking at the second or third generation building. In most cases there was a wooden structure, post-fire there was a stone building, and now on some sites there is a modern replacement as well. The demand for flour saw the construction of a magnificent windmill at the bottom of Elizabeth Street, approximately where the dry cleaners is at present. Called Parr's Mill, the brick base was 5 stories high and the large 5-bladed wooden rotor towered over the town. The old photograph of the mill shows enormous detail and the scale of the whole structure. Royal Arcade, which runs from the main street to the site of the old post office, was the centre of the early shopping area, and with all the foot traffic was actually one of the busiest shopping arcades in New Zealand in the early days. Now it is much quieter and has a roof which was added in 1996. Nearby in George Place is the site of the old library, which has been extended a couple of times and now houses the Timaru District Council offices. The clock tower was removed from the building across the street and a new one was added to the municipal building. The eternal light on top commemorates the soldiers who died and suffered in the Second World War. At the corner of Perth Street and George Street is the site of the old gasworks. The gasworks was here up until the 1960s, when it was overtaken by the advent of cheap electric power. The plant was south of St Mary's, and the fumes and acid vapours took their toll on the limestone of the church, which is about to be restored after almost 100 years. The original wooden church eventually got a stone sanctuary and transept. In 1880, the wooden nave was demolished and the present stone nave was constructed. The parishioners moved around the corner to a hall in Bank Street. When the nave was complete, the old stone bit was demolished and the stones used to construct the retaining wall along Perth Street. The end of the new nave was blanked off with a temporary wall. The foundation stone for the present tower, sanctuary and choir was laid, and the whole thing was finally finished and consecrated in 1908. Archdeacon Harper, the son of Bishop Harper, the Bishop of Canterbury, was instrumental in getting the job done. The task of restoring the church in the present has fallen to Archdeacon Philip Robinson and his Centennial Restoration Committee. This church is the best example of English Gothic architecture in the Southern Hemisphere, with its beautiful stained glass windows. You can climb the tower of St Mary's Church, and it's interesting to contrast the early shots taken from up here with the present day views. This picture, taken looking south down Stafford Street from Ballantyne's Corner in 1870, shows that the north end was slow to develop. The Timaru branch of Ballantyne's was opened in 1883 with the purchase of a drapery store just north of Welcome Street, where the cyclery is now. Many people remember the 1913 Ballantyne's store, a bit like Timaru's version of Harrods. This picture was taken in 1914, looking up towards the Bay Hill. The modern building was constructed in 1985.
From the old ways of the past, walking past the times gone